From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Kari Strandberg.
And I'm Avery Robb.
Today on the show, as technology continues to move forward, it is making it easier to look back into the past. We'll meet a scientist who enjoys digging up history.
Also, yoga can increase strength, flexibility, and endurance. But one instructor is stretching the activity into more than just a workout. But first, astronaut Scott Kelly is back on U.S. soil after spending almost 1 year in space. Kelly was welcomed home by his family in Houston, Texas. Jill Biden also welcomed him, but with beer and apple pie. Kelly spent 340 days at the International Space Station, more than any other astronaut. Scientists will compare how Kelly's body measures up against his twin brother, Mark Kelly, after 1 year in space. NASA hopes to use this information for future missions to Mars. Google, eBay, and JetBlue Airways are among 13 companies to join the fight against illegal wildlife smuggling. The U.S. Wildlife Trafficking Alliance says the companies will use their influence to help stop the crime. JetBlue plans to educate passengers traveling to trafficking hotspots like Latin America. eBay and Google are also brainstorming effective ways to stop the trades. One lawmaker says that this illegal act is a multi-billion-dollar industry linked to terrorism funding. Some people say that with the rise of digital media, bookstores will soon be a thing of the past. However, recent data suggests the opposite. The U.S. Census Bureau reports that bookstore sales increased by 2.5% in 2015. This is the first rise in book sales since 2007. This trend can be seen in locally owned bookstores like Ferguson Books and Media in Grand Forks.
I think the biggest thing is that I feel people are looking for alternatives, way to spend their time, both I think in a personal development standpoint and also in leisure.
Ferguson says that about 5 years ago, there were concerns that ebooks would render print books obsolete. But he says he wasn't worried, and he's glad that his optimism was proven right.
The American Transplant Foundation says more than 123,000 people are on a waiting list for life-saving organ transplants. Some of those organs are from HIV-positive donors and go to waste each year. Johns Hopkins University now says it will perform the first HIV-positive transplant in the United States. HIV-positive patients are eligible to receive organs from donors with or without the HIV virus. This would bump potential patients up the transplant list and give a new hope to those in need.
Child safety is a #1 priority for any parent, but sometimes challenges arise when getting them from point A to point B.
Our biggest thing that we do is child passenger safety, car seats.
For new parents, a child is a welcome gift, but car seats can be just the opposite. Jasmine Wangen of Safe Kids Grand Forks wants to help ease this concern.
We offer a bringing home baby class so expected parents can learn more about their car seat and how to use their specific one correctly and how to install it in their vehicle.
Wangen says an alarming number of parents, however, aren't doing enough to ensure the safety of the little ones.
4 out of 5 car seats are used incorrectly in some way, whether it's how they're installed or how the child is riding in the car seat.
During the course, basic car seat education and hands-on practice help secure safety into the minds of parents.
I didn't use this seat on my son until he was about 9 months old.
We bought a car seat that nobody I knew had, so I was hoping that I'd get more information, which we did because the instructor has the same one.
Right, then you might not need it. So perfect, that looks good.
Car seats come in a variety of shapes and sizes, yet there is no one best option to choose.
It's what fits your child, it fits the vehicle, and one that you can use correctly every time.
Even those with car seat experience should consider a checkup, says Wangen.
Car seats are always changing, safety standards are changing, so even a parent that has a few kids, the car seat standards could have changed since their last child.
Before departing, the parents get one more practice run and are reminded why they're here.
Because accidents happen.
And when they do, they'll be prepared. Reporting for Studio One, I'm Avery Robb.
Bringing home baby and car seat checkups are free of charge, but you must register in advance. For more information, visit safekidsgf.com. Kari, that's the news for now.
Thanks, Avery. Let's go now to Kaela Lucke for the weather news. Kaela?
Thanks, Kari. March came in like a lamb here, but in some places it came in like a lion. As we go into places like Green Bay, Wisconsin, they actually experienced a snowstorm and made commuting tough for most drivers as snow, sleet, and rain fell throughout the day. Reports say that at the end, a total of 5 inches had fallen. As the storm moved off, it headed to places like Illinois, where it caused some major problems at the O'Hare Airport. 2 planes slid off the runway due to icy conditions. Luckily, no one was injured, but the accident did force the runway to be shut down. Now with that, we're going to be looking at something today known as the Alberta Clipper. The Alberta Clipper starts up in Alberta, Canada, hence the name. It follows the jet stream and is associated with low precipitation, high wind, and colder temperatures behind it. As it moves into our region, these conditions are perfect for some ground blizzards and some fast-moving snowstorms. As it moves off into places like the Great Lakes, it strengthens and actually brings in more moisture to places such as the eastern and southern parts of the Great Lakes. And then finally, it moves off into Washington, D.C., and this is where it will usually die out. However, if it gets some more moisture with the water, it will strengthen into a snowstorm. And now meteorologists have a hard time predicting these Alberta Clippers because they are so fast moving and they are really hard to find on maps. Now, one man knows how to find the perfect ice at the Ralph Arena.
After this arena empties, players receive feedback from the coaches. One man hears observations from the players.
We're able to make adjustments and we work around the team quite a bit.
While most people care most about the score of a game, Neil is concerned about a different set of numbers.
We like to keep a dew point around 35, humidity around 40% for the perfect ice conditions.
If these numbers aren't controlled, the ice can affect the game.
Chippy ice or a lot of snow accumulation.
To make sure the ice is at its peak performance, the temperature is always being measured.
We have 4 slab sensors in the floor.
The pressure is on for Neil to be at the top of his game.
When you do get a negative feedback on the ice, you kind of go back and do your homework.
Neil's pride in his ice results in the best surface possible for players from both teams. With photographer Taylor Nelson, I'm Taryn Bromberger reporting for Studio One.
With hundreds of fans cheering at the arena, this is equivalent to hundreds of gallons of water being produced in the arena. And this brings us to our weather question of the week. What is the Alberta Clipper also known as? Is that A, the Alberta Low, B, the Canadian Low, C, the Canadian Clipper, or D, the Los Angeles Clipper? Now, Kari, most of the snow we receive in our area is due to the Alberta Clipper.
Great, now I know what to blame all our snowstorms on. Thanks, Kaela. Now let's head on over to Avery for the sports story of today's show. Avery?
Thanks, Kari. The stress of everyday responsibilities can be daunting. A local yoga instructor is encouraging her community to take a breath and stretch out the stress in a unique way.
Everyone's like, what?
Grand Forks local Marissa Mihelich is a mother of 2, healthy lifestyle advocate, and a budding entrepreneur. As the owner of New Love Yoga, she's not just waiting for people to come to her, she's coming to them.
Knew that doing a service to the community, about getting out there, listening to the people, not having it in a gym setting.
Marissa is an advocate for a popular new trend sweeping across America, beer and yoga events. While deep breathing and stretching may be required, having a brew or cocktail is merely an option.
And that's not what I'm promoting either. I'm not promoting like, let's drink, I
actually don't drink, so this is non-alcoholic.
While Marissa hosts beer and yoga events often, they're not the only programs she has brewing. With the variety of classes she offers, there's something for everyone to enjoy.
Come forward, Warrior 2.
So that it doesn't matter what your level of experience with yoga is, this can be your first yoga class, and she'll demonstrate and she'll have other people as examples.
While the classes are as strenuous as they are fun, it's easy to see it's not just the yoga that keeps people coming back. It's Marissa herself.
I became her friend because she was a yoga teacher and I really enjoyed doing yoga with her.
She is by far my favorite yoga instructor. She's awesome.
With such a positive reaction, it's only a matter of time before Marissa has even more people coming together, having a beer, and perfecting their downward dog. With Studio One, I'm Matt Eaton.
Find your focal point on the ceiling.
Marissa holds a variety of classes throughout the week. If you would like to attend one, visit her website at newloveyoga.squarespace.com. That's the sports story for today's show. Kari, we've all heard of regular yoga. I think last semester you got to go on a hot yoga shoot, and now we throw beer into the mix. What's next?
I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun though, and it's great that she's so involved with the community.
Yeah.
Thanks, Avery. Much is still unknown about ancient civilizations. Next, we'll meet an archaeologist who uses technology to gain insight into lost cultures.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
For me to go to college, it was a big step, knowing that I'm pursuing a better future for myself. When you know that you have a small system there that you can still find comfort in, it really makes a difference. The support here and everything that they offer for us, you know, the tutors, the free meals, the family, the friends, basically just somewhere for you to relax and be comfortable and find that home feeling again.
Yeah, okay, science meets imagination. Life changed by innovation. They're the future of our nation. Engineers the occupation. UND College of Engineering and Mines. Invest in your mind to stay with the times. Formulas, machines, and all that's in between. They teach it all from wall to help you succeed. Come on, it could be electrical, chemical, or civil. Our world-class staff will help you make it all official. Mechanical, petroleum, geology align at the
UND's College of Engineering and Mines.
Okay, become a leader, prove yourself among all your peers. Changing the world begins right here. You're not alone, but in the plan, we'll take your hand and help you stand with mentorship and advising. We'll do all we can. Okay, so if you want to join the party, simply calculate. The math adds up, so never think to hesitate. Education, leadership, and dreams combined at the UND College of Engineering and Mines.
I really love UND.
It's just exactly what I want to be doing, and you know, with this program I get to do it.
It's very tailored to what your interests are and what your future goals are.
By the time I graduate, I'll have a stacked resume.
This grad program has been unbelievable. It has literally been a dream come true.
With more than 120 degree and certificate programs, the UND School of Graduate Studies is your path to success.
Closed captioning for Studio One is supported in part by the Listen Center, enriching the lives of people who have intellectual disabilities with choices in community recreation.
President Thomas Jefferson is said to have performed the first scientific excavation back in the 19th century. He was investigating mounds on his property, but the science of archaeology has grown to be much more. Creighton University Associate Professor of Archaeology, Erin Everett, is here to talk about how technology has advanced her profession. Thanks for being on the show with us today, Erin.
Thanks for having me.
How did you originally get into archaeology?
Well, it actually started when I was a little kid. My mom was into genealogy, and so we were kind of put in the car, drove all over the country and up into Canada, looking at cemeteries, looking for our family, taking rubbings, visiting sites, and so that kind of sparked a bug, right? I mean, to look at sites and try to piece together your family. And then in high school I took Latin, and that shifted my interest to the ancient Mediterranean. And then what sealed it was I went to Turkey for a month and saw all the archaeological remains there and knew I wanted to do archaeology after that.
You told me that there's a lot more skills that archaeologists need than meets the eye. What do some of those include?
Well, archaeology requires you to be a specialist in a lot of different disciplines, so you need to know about the ancient cultures you're studying, about their art, their archaeology, their history, the languages that they spoke, but in addition, you're part of a modern community, so you need to know whatever language the current people speak, you need to know how to manage a dig, so you sort of have to be a jack of all trades.
What's your favorite artifact that you've ever excavated?
My favorite artifact is the first one I ever found. So it's humble, it's not anything really to write home about, but I remember digging my first summer in Cyprus and I found a little pot that was perfectly preserved. And even though you know academically you're digging up something, you know, people living 2,500 years ago, when you hold that first object, it's a really personal connection. And so to me, I always remember that. that object.
That's awesome. In a second here, we're going to have a picture up of one of your students. How does it make you feel when you get to watch your students achieve such great things like that?
Well, that's one of my favorite things. So now as a professor, I get to bring my own students and I get to watch them experience the thrill of archaeology firsthand. So everything they've learned in a classroom, they get to apply it in the field. And they all love it, right? So it's really neat for me. And when they find something cool, like this student here, they just get so excited. She found a statue of Artemis, so very proud moment for her. It's very exciting.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So how has technology contributed to the archaeology world?
Well, archaeology has always embraced technology from the beginning. Even in the 19th century with photography, archaeologists have always embraced kind of cutting edge technology to enhance and disseminate what we're finding. And with databases and computers, we've always been using them. But in the last couple of years with tablet technology, it's revolutionizing our field. And so now tablet computers are much more durable than laptops. And so we're able to bring them literally into the trenches to record what we're finding instead of using paper. To use them in the sea or in the air, right, to control drones and things like this. And so it's really an exciting moment. We're sort of on the cusp of a paradigm shift, I think, in our field.
What other tools do you use besides iPads as far as technology goes?
You can use iPads for recording or for database management and things like that. We also do a lot with 3D technology. So you can scan your entire site using LiDAR or use different photogrammetry to scan your trench as you're digging to record it three-dimensionally. Or my recent project uses 3D imaging to scan artifacts. So you can do virtual museum shows online and get your objects out there to a broader range of people.
Can you explain to me how you do 3D imaging of a site?
Of an entire site?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, we personally have not done that yet, but you can use LiDAR imaging, or big trucks drive around, right, with this imaging technology to scan an entire valley, or you can use drones to do that. So that's really exciting. We dig in a demilitarized zone, so we unfortunately are not able to do that. But that's really cool to be able to do your whole site and contextualize everything you find within the broader landscape is really exciting.
Why is it so important to use 3D imaging then?
Well, archaeology is destruction. So as you're digging, you're destroying the context. So the more recording in general you can do, the better, because you're helping preserve what you're destroying. So we write about it, we take photographs of it, we draw it, and 3D imaging just adds an extra layer of recording.
What's your favorite part of your job?
Let's see. Well, I really love going into the field. I'm a real field person. So I like teaching, I like my students at Creighton, but my favorite thing is to be able to bring them abroad with me, and they get to sort of experience a foreign culture, but also learn archaeology firsthand.
And lastly, what gets you most excited when you're at a site?
Oh gosh, let's see. I just think it's so exciting to be on a dig. Every day is exciting because you're finding something really cool, whether that's an object or just something that changes your interpretation of the site. And it's just an exciting dynamic having faculty and students and graduate students all together. It's a really dynamic environment that's really, there's not a dull moment when you're in the field.
It sounds like you have a really fun job. Thanks for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
South American culture is known for its bright music and dance. Coming up, learn what one group is doing differently to preserve their tradition and heritage.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Really admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
To have the future you want and a career you'll be proud of, you'll need a great education. The University of North Dakota can get you there with more than 225 degree programs, preparing you for today's fastest growing, high demand careers, like medicine and health professions, aerospace, business, engineering, and energy. Schedule your campus visit today at und.edu/go, because to succeed, you need to be exceptional.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
If you were desperately trying to put your life in order, Afghanistan is probably the last place you'd think to go to. In the film Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, reporter Kim Baker is stuck in a boring and routine lifestyle. After her news team runs short on personnel, she volunteers to travel to Kabul. While living in what is called the Funhouse, Kim meets another reporter who shows her the ropes. Kim finds herself reporting frontline news, as well as discovering a new way to embrace life.
When Kim first gets to Kabul, she doesn't really know the lay of the land. She's a novice at being an on-air correspondent. She's trying to cover that. She's definitely a novice for the kind of sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle that's going on in the Funhouse.
The film is based on a true story. The Department of Defense and the Pentagon assisted in script writing, providing filming locations and lending high-ranked officials for cast advising. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot will be released March 4th and is rated R. At some point in time, almost everyone has experienced that moment of panic due to a misplaced wallet or credit card. Developers have created a new technology called digital wallets to avoid this situation. However, a Gallup poll shows that people are not using digital wallets like Apple Pay, PayPal, and Google Wallet as much as they were hoping. These developers say they are more convenient than a wallet full of cards, but some are worried about their security. We wanted to know your thoughts.
I'm sure they're very useful, but for me, I don't know enough about technology to feel comfortable with using them. I also question who has access to that digital information.
There is definitely that concern about security, plus I have to remember like 1 million passwords for everything, so that kind of stinks.
I think they're pretty convenient and pretty safe, because I think Apple would do a good job with security, and you don't have to carry anything around except your phone.
Probably somewhere in between. I use PayPal. It's much more convenient and, I guess in my mind, safer than having my credit card out to multiple places.
I think with any sort of new technology, it's going to take a while to catch on, but I can definitely see the use for them in the future.
I don't personally use them for that very reason. You know, if I lose my cell phone or something, now suddenly I feel like my credit card information is compromised.
A comment on Facebook from Devlin in Elk River, Minnesota. I think this is useless. What happens if you lose your phone? Then someone has your information. I do not believe this is a useful way to use technology and would cause more problems than solve them. And from Kim in Pelican Rapids, Minnesota, they probably would be convenient, but I also think the safety issues outweigh the convenience of them. I would hate to lose my personal information.
There are many different avenues to learn about cultures that differ from our own. We met a Canadian group who gave us an insight into a culture thousands of miles away.
The Feast of Nations, an event that began more than 50 years ago, has grown to be the largest venue of cultural diversity in the Midwest. For one night, people experience how it feels to be a part of a culture that's not their own. This group of men and women took the audience on a trip to South America.
Yeah, capoeira is a Brazilian martial art. It's, combining a few elements. It's a dance, music, and self-defense and art.
Capoeira was developed by 16th century Afro-Brazilian slaves. They disguised their movements as a dance to be allowed to continue practicing their art. Today, the group Viva Brazil brings their culture to life on every stage on which they perform. Their show is high energy, especially the rhythm of the music.
I love the different drum beats and
just the energy of the music.
Another important component to capoeira is the martial art.
My favorite moves are any of the sort of, I guess, cartwheel style type moves. It's fun, it's high energy, and you just feel like a kid again.
Through all the kicks, flips, and shaking of the hips, Viva Brazil entertains for one reason.
But for me, it's to expose people a little bit of Brazil. So capoeira is something very important for Brazilians.
And it's that exposure that enlightens people to different cultures around the world. From the Feast of Nations, I'm Peter Monsrud, reporting for Studio One.
The performers say capoeira doesn't have an age limit. It's about feeling rather than skill. So anybody who can feel can participate and enjoy this piece of Brazilian culture. Kari, I've seen several groups around campus practicing for many months, and it blows my mind how much preparation has to go into this. I mean, it's pure dedication by all groups.
I can't believe all of those flips and everything that they're doing. It looks really hard.
I don't think I'd be able to.
Do you think that they all practice together?
Yeah, I've seen several groups who have practiced together.
Awesome. Thanks, Avery. Now let's head on over to Kaela, who joins us in the studio for a final look at the weather. Kaela?
Thanks, Kari. As we look at temperatures for the week, we can see that the East Coast is going to stay pretty warm. And down in Arizona, it's going to be pretty chilly this week as they will hit a high of only 70 degrees. As we go into precipitation, we'll be seeing that most of the United States is going to be seeing some sort of rain. This is fabulous news for California as they're going to be seeing some relief from that drought. And this brings us to our weather question of the week. And what is the Alberta Clipper also known as? Is that A, the Alberta Low, B, the Canadian Low, C, the Canadian Clipper, or D, the Los Angeles Clipper? And that answer is C, the Canadian Clipper. Now, the Canadian Clipper and the Alberta Clipper is the most common clipper. However, there are other clippers, and Kari, those names are really wacky, such as the Saskatchewan Screamer or the Ontario Scario.
Those are some really crazy names. They sound like roller coasters to me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kaela. And that's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website.
From all of us at Studio One, have a great week.